Welcome to Full Fashion Finish Strong Friday. For those of you that know me or are getting to know me through my blog, my daily sales crumbs, and through this weekly feature, you'll know that I'm known for my maps, my metaphors, acronyms, analogies, parables, and similes. And today will be no different. The number one question I'm usually asked is, Brandon, how did you become so successful? Particularly as my life as an open book tells you that I've had some financial struggles. It took me a while to get used to sales and to become successful in it. So I understand what it's like to have to struggle and work your way through. But what I always like to tell people is in order to be successful, you've got to be down with O.T.P. And yes, you can say it. You know, when you think about success, there are so many roads to take and so many roads to choose. And as I like to say, a strange thing happened on the road to success. Everyone starts out on the road to success excited, full of enthusiasm and energy, determined. Along the way, they encounter people going in different directions, and as human beings, they naturally begin to wonder, am I on the right path? They run into situations and circumstances that put them at odds with others, a tug of war over normally what is incorrectly perceived as limited opportunity. Frustration sets in, and the few people who know what to do seem to dominate, monopolize opportunity, the resources, and make all the money. And eventually, in an industry like sales that's already wrought with high turnover and burnout, many people think they've made the wrong career decision and decide to quit. Well, I'm here today to encourage you that it's not time to quit. It's simply time to be down with O.T.P. And again, I'll explain that more in a moment. But as I like to say, in every climate, in every environment, somewhere, someone is getting rich. And then the ultimate question is, why not you? So when you think about your life and your possibilities and opportunities, it may seem like the latest, greatest thing has passed you by, but I'm here to tell you that in every environment, opportunity and the opportunities for success evolve. So I'm going to give you a quick history lesson, hope you don't mind, but it will show you that there are acres of diamonds, as Pastor Cromwell once taught in a sermon years ago. Now, back in the early 1800s, and particularly here in the beginning of America, the dawn of America over 200 years ago, we lived in what was known as an agrarian age. It was an age of landowners, and only the people that owned land were wealthy. They were the aristocrats, and the common man couldn't own land. So it felt as though they were locked out. They couldn't get into the system. They couldn't even marry into aristocracy. I mean, you could watch Downton Abbey and understand how that system worked. But then enter the industrial age, where people were able to create products. Mass production came into being. And all of a sudden, things from potato chips to beer and pretzels, all the things that you see commonly on the shelves today were created in their infancy during the industrial age. Men and women who had taken action were able to take products that they believed in, get them on the assembly line, and mass produce them to a ready and willing and waiting world. And just at the time that it seemed that part of our industrial age was at saturation, we entered the age of flight, where the Wright brothers created an entire industry that made more millionaires at the time than any other single thing in history. And by way of airplanes, airlines, stewardesses, down to the pretzels and snacks that you see, millions of dollars have come and gone. Billions of dollars have been flowing through that process. But then in the middle 80s came the information age, where the Steve Jobs, the Jeff Bezos, and the Bill Gateses were created. Billionaires that took the commodity of information and, yes, technology. And the reason I have technology in the here and now is because technology has reached critical mass, where people like you and me can create a video, upload it to YouTube, and 10 people can watch it and feel good about it, or 10 million people can watch a cat playing with a fur ball. It's an amazing time that we live in, but what I'm trying to demonstrate is that opportunity doesn't shrink. It actually, just like our universe, is expanding, and it is moving at the speed of light. But in order for you to take advantage, as Yogi Berra says, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. Now, yes, that's a play on words, but what I'm trying to demonstrate here is that there's two roads to choose. One that leads to success for you, and then one that leads to failure. But there's a reality that we've got to come to grips with, that not every opportunity is for everybody. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. That if you follow opportunities that are built for you, right for you, and are an extension of who you are and what you are naturally, you will reach higher levels of success. And the good news about the world we live in, we're not all called to do the same thing. There are some people who will be successful doing things you'd hate. And then there are some things that you're uniquely gifted and called to do that they don't want to do. So success is here for everyone. So the key to putting yourself in the flow of wealth and possibilities is to understand the vital elements that have to be present. And then there's only one question to answer. You down with O.T.P? And again, you can say it. So what is O.T.P? O.T.P is the combination of opportunity, timing, and people. When you think back on opportunities and things that didn't work out before in your life, you'll probably say, well, Brandon, my timing was wrong because the pet rock took off just as I gave up on it. Or if you were engaged with the wrong people, but the opportunity and the timing was good. So with O.T.P, all three things have to be coming together in the right formula, the right mixture, and in essence, in the right proportions. Opportunity, timing, and people. So what does real opportunity look like? Real opportunity should not be built on chance or the next big thing. There's some fundamental elements that define opportunity. What problem does it solve, or what desire does it meet? Is it new and an emerging trend? Is there an initial and growing demand possibility? Are there too many barriers to entry and you don't want it to be too crowded, but you don't want it to be too hard to get into? And what is that cost of entry? So when you think about opportunity, you've got to be able to ask common sense questions. And again, in this day of technology, in this day of information, it's so easy to do research. And as I like to say, smart skims the surface, but genius goes deep. And as you go deeper and begin to really review and reflect on the opportunities that are in front of you, or that even those that were behind you, you'll begin to see that some of the elements of a good opportunity may have been lacking, or there may be some things right now in your midst that you could do that would be great. So in business, timing is everything. Now, everybody's biological clock is different, and everybody's going to have a different sense of when they want to get engaged in an opportunity. Some people don't want something that's too new. Some people don't want something where everybody's already doing it and it's already passé. But for you, timing is critical. Windows of opportunity close and open every single day. When you get in, and yes, when you get out, matters. Think of it. When you're thinking about a stock, stocks will continually do what? Go up. And of course, they'll do what? Come down. The key, though, is that if you want to be successful in buying stock and selling stock, you've got to buy when it's down and sell when it's up. Timing. So when you think about opportunities, there's some immediate things you need to ask relative to the timing. Is this a seasonal opportunity? Is it going to grow year after year? Is it a fad that will sustain focused effort? Or is it a passing fancy that will only last for one Christmas season because everybody thinks it's the hot new thing? Is the market already saturated with copycat products and salespeople vying for the limited opportunities of people? Is it a ground floor opportunity where early adapters will have a decided advantage because they got in right on time? For those of you that have read Sales Crumbs from the Master's Table, timing always reminds me of Grand Booty, when he, as Matt was being born, purchased the Microsoft stock for little to nothing. And of course, years later, it turned into $100,000 and he was able to send Matt and his sister to school on it. The key now is, where is the next Microsoft? And in that sense, there's that opportunity meeting perfect timing. So then the third element, what about people? And of course, we're in a world now, a global economy, where we're all connected and inextricably woven together as a community. So people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. But partnerships and relationships are both ships. They can lead to championships, yes, success, or they can lead you to being shipwrecked. And I know many of you know what I'm talking about. Some of what occurred in your history is not because the opportunity was not real or even that the timing was right. It was that the people you got connected to just didn't gel. Or maybe they had ulterior motives, or maybe they were the only ones that could win. So again, we've got to ask ourselves some basic questions. The most dynamic of the three elements is human nature because it's unpredictable, especially when money is involved. A few things to consider before you build alliances. Is there a leader who can provide guidance to maximize the opportunity? Is there an expert who can cut down on the learning curve and the trial and error of getting something new launched? Are the financial models aligned so that everyone can win? And just as importantly, are the financial models aligned so that everyone has a stake in others' success? Ultimately, you've got to protect yourselves. And as I always like to say, as human beings, we will disappoint each other. But contracts make sure we don't betray each other. So when you begin to put these elements together and coming down or getting down with O.T.P, opportunity, timing, and people, I'm going to say something a little bit counterintuitive right now. But that's caveat emptor. And yes, that means let the buyer beware. In this day of talking heads, Bernie Madoff, and Bitcoins, and I must admit, even as a financial guy, I have no clue what those are. You have to be sure to exercise common sense and to not be drawn away of your own lust. Look, in order for you to be tricked, in order for you to be bamboozled and hoodwinked, you've got to be susceptible. And when you're susceptible, it means you want something, you desire something. But sometimes when you want something and desire something, you suspend rational judgment. Alan Greenspan, back during the 80s, called it irrational exuberance, where people were able to pick stocks and charts off of internet companies, and they believed they were fundamentally sound, when in essence they were basically throwing a dart. And it was irrational, it was exuberant, and a lot of people lost a lot of money. So there's a few things I'll leave you with by way of thoughts. Number one, and you can finish these, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Billy Preston, my man. All that glitters is not gold. A fool in their money will soon be parted. And as Smokey Robinson used to say, my mama told me, you better shop around. So when you're thinking about opportunity, timing, and people, you've got to allow your inner thoughts, your inner discernment, your inner business intuition to take root, to take hold, and to, yes, trust that still small voice that says, this is it, this is the one. Because even contrary to what I just said about caveat emptor, I will now give you another Latin phrase, carpe diem, seize the day. When you find the elements of opportunity, timing, and people, and they converge in a way that feels right, and you sense there's a chance to get in, you've got to do it. Ultimately, your gifts, your inclinations, and your personal mission should dictate the things you get involved with. Those will be the things that are naturally for you. Even with the elements of opportunity, timing, and people, you still have to seize the day and bust the move. And here's a few extra phrases I'll leave you with today. If you snooze, you lose. No risk, no reward. No pain, no gain. There can be no victory without sacrifice. The world belongs to those that dare. And my brother-in-law's favorite, and he says it all the time, scared money can't make no money. And I agree with him. So in one sense, you got to make sure that the things you get involved with are right for you, and they meet the needs of your situation, your gifts and skills, that they bring opportunity, timing, and people together in the right way. You've got to exercise those thoughts that allow you to know that this is the one, that this is the big deal. But what about those of you that have been hurt before by opportunity? That have been used by people who are only looking for their selfish gain or their own ulterior motives, or that always seem that you're a day late and a dollar short, that your timing is off. If you've ever had things go wrong, take heart. The world is still full of opportunity, and you have not been left behind. The time is now. I want you to look around you again, this time with a fresh perspective. And because I'm here, and I know what my intentions are, and I know hundreds of people who have good intentions, there are still good people who sincerely desire truly synergistic success, one where we help each other and do more than we ever thought possible. So again, I'll ask you, you down with O.T.P? Yeah, you know me. You know I wasn't going to go through a whole one of these sessions and not say it at least once. You owed me that. But what I would want you to do today is to go back and look at some of the things that didn't work out the way you wish they might have. But to begin to review, was the opportunity there? Was the timing right? What about the people? And then through looking retrospectively at your life, you can begin to look prospectively at the environment you're in today and what opportunities, timing, and people you can get involved with. But I know there is something uniquely made for you that if you get involved at just the right time with just the right people and just the right opportunity, you will explode onto new levels of life, and that is my goal for you. This is Brandon Clay, and until next week, I wish you money, power, success.